Good evening. This is Rudy Giuliani, and this is the Rudy Giuliani Show, and it's on. You know what it's on? It's on Mr. Pillow's TV. Don't you miss him? When are we going to have him on as a guest? Why don't we have Mike on as a guest?
We got to get him on. I'm going to text him now.
We got to get Mike on as a guest. Since his trial is over, he's been kind of laying low. I think he's. But what would you be doing if you weren't licking your wounds? If you were enjoying your victory, what would you say you'd be doing? If you lost, you'd be licking your wounds. But if you win, you're sucking in the glory, I guess. Well, today I was very, very impressed. Both with the individual subject, but with the whole picture of what this Trump administration is all about and what they're fighting. And in a way, I thought Robert Kennedy Jr. embodied it. He embodied the battle that they're all going through in one way or another, whether it's Pete Hegseth or it's Pam Bondi or it's Marco or it's the president himself, who doesn't have to deal with the Congress, but has to deal with the press, and maybe the Democrats are well, they're always nasty, right? Maybe they're unduly nasty because Bobby was a former Democrat, and maybe I don't get it as much because I'm a former Democrat, and I changed for very different reasons, because the reasons that I changed for were years ago, and the reasons he changed for now, maybe some of it's the same. I mean, mine was pretty evenly divided between foreign policy and domestic policy. It was in 1970. And I was a supporter of his uncle and his father, a very big supporter of both. But I was a very, very strong, even though as a young man, you wouldn't think this would be a big issue for him, but I was a very strong anti-communist. And you might not know this, but the Kennedys were very strong anti-communists. His father actually had been a counsel on the McCarthy committee that got into trouble for going too far in going after the communists. He was gone by then, but always throughout their career, there was a real, very, very realistic appreciation of the danger of communism, which the Democrat Party didn't have in general, except for the Kennedys and their group of supporters. And once Robert was gone, died, it really wasn't fair. Teddy wasn't really, I guess, of that generation. He wasn't involved with the Army McCarthy hearings, and maybe as involved with the grandfather, who was a very big anti-communist. But whatever, the orientation changed, but mine didn't. And I saw the Democrat Party when it nominated McGovern, and who was so soft on dealing with the Soviets that we just never win this battle against the Soviets by appeasing them all the time. And then I was a pretty strong social liberal. But then when I began investigating as a prosecutor the Model Cities Administration and some of their other Great Society programs, which were, Lyndon Johnson, maybe I overreacted, maybe I didn't. They seemed all crooked. It seemed to me like no money was getting to poor people. And I said to myself, what am I doing in this party? So I became an independent and then eventually a Republican, which was back when Reagan was there. And then, of course, I've been a Republican all this time. But always able until recently to get along with Democrats really well. I mean, I got elected maybe with more Democrat votes than Republican votes in New York City. I worked very, very well with the Democratic city council. And I worked with President Clinton. But to see their bitterness and silliness, I mean, they know that the pharmaceutical industry is crooked. Of course, they'll get a lot of money from it, but they know that the pharmaceutical industry some time ago lost the desire to help and save people and became just another abbreviation on the stock market. And it's a question of, is your stock price better today than it was yesterday? And is the CEO keeping the stock price up? And how do you recover all that money that it takes to do research on drugs? And how do you make sure that the drugs make a lot of money, whether they're helping people or killing people? How do you cover up things that go wrong in trials? It's about as crooked an industry as we have in terms of crooked industries. You might compare it to the defense industry, military-industrial complex, the pharmaceutical complex. With the onset of Medicare, Medicaid, and then eventually Obamacare, right? The paperwork and the reimbursements are, some of the reimbursements are so low that, and the structure for reimbursement so burdensome and costly, therefore, that the doctors probably rationalize cheating. Like, if you don't really need that test, we'll give it to you because you can get reimbursed for that, but maybe not for the one that you're actually going to do. Or if you can ratchet up the number of patients that are doing things that bring you a profit, that's good too. And eventually, then all becomes money. And I believe that the pandemic was all about money, as well as beating Trump. But maybe we have a few of the excerpts, and this is better listening to some of the excerpts than it is listening to me, because they embody the debate that's going on right now within healthcare, but they embody really the debate between Reformation and the deep state. And the senators, by and large, are complete captives of the lobbyists who take them out to dinner, raise money for them. There's no money on the side of patients. There's a lot of money on the side of Pfizer. And you're going to see that even with the Republican senators who are a little more restrained, but the pharmaceutical industry is putting out enormous amounts of money for both sides of the aisle. And it's very fortunate that we have a guy like Kennedy who doesn't give a damn like the president doesn't. So do you have we have a couple of excerpts we can play, Ted?
You're saying the Biden administration politicized all the data? Go back to what Senator Cantwell just said.
Fired Dr.
Go to the Trump Surgeon General.
They fired Dr. Kraft. They fired all the people who questioned the orthodoxy. They fired Dr. Gruber, Dr. Kraus.
Enacting an agenda that I think is fundamentally cruel and defies common sense. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do I got a reply? Or, Senator, you've sat in that chair for how long? 20, 25 years, while the chronic disease in our children went up to 76%. And you said nothing. You never asked the question why it's happening. Why is this happening? Today, for the first time in 20 years, we learned that infant mortality has increased in our country. It's not because I came in here. It's because of what happened during the Biden administration that we're going to end.
I'm going to let Senator Wyden respond briefly to that.
Colleagues,
I'm willing to give you the answer. I'm willing to give you the answer.
Secretary, someone should have asked you, maybe President Trump should have asked you, are you a trustworthy person? And we should have waited for an answer then. Let's move on.
I don't even know what you're talking about. You're talking gibberish.
Mr. Secretary, let me speak slowly and clearly so that you can understand me through my New Mexico accent.
And then give me a chance to answer.
Does this help? Can you understand me?
Yes.
Appreciate that. Mr. Secretary, yes or no, did you hire Ms.
Nasty prick, huh? Really? I don't know who he is, which senator. I mean, there are so many of them. They crawl around all over the place. Where is he from? New Mexico. And is he elected, or did he somehow just come in that day?
Yeah.
Was he elected?
Elected, yeah.
And what does he do? Ask questions, just ask
Yeah.
questions.
Well, like most of them.
Does he have any expertise? I mean, there was one there's one doctor who summed it all up for him, and he didn't really have to. Do we have an excerpt from Senator Marshall? Senator Marshall did a very, very good job of summing it all up. Senator Marshall said during one of these interviews, I don't think it was during the hearing, but during an interview, that before he became a doctor, he delivered a baby a day. So I think he knows a little something about medicine, and he was trying to explain that Bobby Kennedy raises an issue that probably should have been raised 30 years ago. Little babies do not need 60 vaccines. They don't need 60 vaccines. I think it's 57 that are mandated in New York. Other states have different numbers, some more than that. Like, for example, and I remember my kids, Andrew and Z, bringing this to my attention, and I had lost track of vaccines, and I got a couple, and my children got a couple, and they showed me this list until she's 5 of something like 35 or 40 vaccines that are either recommended or required or whatever they are. And how about hepatitis as an infant? Absolutely no reason for a hepatitis unless, the kid's going to go out and start dating at 2 months and making out in the back of a car. And as long as mama and daddy are in good shape and healthy, it's a useless vaccine. And every vaccine has a certain percentage of side effects. I mean, almost every vaccine or medicine can kill you. 1 out of a million, 1 out of this. There's never a reason to take medicine if you don't need it, because medicine can always be counterproductive. There's also a problem with vaccines. This went on so fast, I'm not sure I got the numbers correct. But of that 50 or 60 number of vaccines that are required for your child, I thought I heard only one of them actually went through the requisite tests that you would have for a regular medicine. I hope it's a little more than that. I know it's not all of them. The reason that I originally resisted taking the COVID vaccine, and to this day cannot understand how these lying, greedy, creepy Democrats fight so hard for it was never tested. Never, ever tested.
And we have a clip from Senator Roger Marshall.
Go ahead.
Welcome, Mr. Secretary. One of your themes for the CDC is transparency. And I think when I hear you talk about transparency, I think part of that is sharing what you know, what the CDC knows with parents so that they can make decisions. Behind me, I know it's going to be hard to see from there. I can barely read it. This is the current CDC recommendations for vaccines for children. On day number 1, they get their first jab, a hepatitis vaccine. By the time they're 18 months, they've had 18 jabs. By the time they get to be old enough to vote, they have 76 jabs.
Oh. Now, that's a doctor saying it. What did he say? By the time they're 10 years old, they have 76 jabs? I mean, that's more than there are genders. And we don't need more than 2. That's right. That's absurd. Now, can I point out the profit motive in that? I don't need to know anything else other than all of those vaccines, if they can get on a list, are you guaranteed payment to the company. You don't have guaranteed payment for everything. I don't know if you have insurance or Medicare, whatever. Certain medicines have to be approved, right, by the insurance company. Then the insurance company will pay for the medicine. Not all medicines are approved. Every vaccine is. At 76 ching-chings for the insurance company. Multiplied by the number of children born in America. Ching, 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 ching. Required. Absolute cash comes right in. Don't have to worry about collecting. Boom, boom, payment, payment, payment. Vaccines are just absolute cash machines. That's why that's the whole problem with the pandemic. The reason that they beat down hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, and everything else that did have a salutary effect on the illness at an early stage was because if there was a treatment for COVID, then you would not have been able to get the vaccine out on an emergency basis, because you can only do it on an emergency basis if there isn't a known treatment. So Dr. Fauci changed his position on hydroxychloroquine, about which he had written an article 4 years earlier, that it was a miracle drug for dealing with viral infections, particularly if done at an early stage, and basically frightened you into thinking it would kill you if you had it. It was probably one of the most disgusting, dishonorable, lying, creepy things anyone ever did. And I took the time to read about I took time to read his article. Most people didn't bother to do that. The press hid it, and the social media made it hard to find, but I found it. And he was over the top about hydroxychloroquine. And then all of a sudden, it's a terrible medicine. And then I became completely suspicious when they said it could even be fatal. This is, of course, ridiculous. People have been taking it for 50 years for malaria as a prophylactic. I took it for malaria. So I see now, I mean, some of these senators like Barrasso, and I don't get it. I mean, they must be getting a lot of money from the vaccine industry. They're so interested in all these vaccines. Just the mere fact that they saw 72 jabs, they should have been shocked. They should have been shocked. 72? And you can't figure out why? And you got a guy that's willing to ask the question? He's sufficiently free from the corruption of this, so he's willing to ask the question, and he do everything he can to ruin him? Thank God for the president, and thank God for him. And maybe we'll get to the bottom of which ones do we need and which ones don't we need. How many of the 72 do we really need? And does everybody need them? I mean, very rarely does everybody need the same medicine, but we'll have to see. Well, Z's parade yesterday was quite a thing, quite a parade, right? And it was not like the usual. They have one like on May 1st to celebrate. I guess it celebrates communism, the establishment of communism in the Soviet Union. They call it the May Day Parade. They used to have one in America when the Communist Party was active in America. Then they all became Democrats and they don't need it. Now, you can look at that and you can see they're fascists. You can see they're fascists just by the way they march. They march like over-regimented, completely controlled automatons. The Russians, the Chinese, the Nazis. The Nazis, of course, were a socialist party. They just turned their political focus in a somewhat different direction. There's the little toy soldiers all marching. Now, they have actually pretty much marched for 50 years and not fought, which might raise a real question as to how effective they're going to be as a fighting force. Yeah, you can see a very militaristic country. They desire to be the leading country in the world by mid-century. And I would say that march there had several targets. Number one, Donald Trump. Number two, allies of the United States, and trying to give them second thoughts about just how far they should go as allies of the United States. And number three, their own egos as dictators. So he number one, he gave us the benefit of seeing their military arms. And number two, he gave us the benefit of seeing his main allies, like Hitler. He brought together the major dictators and murderers in the world. Here we are. The Australian has a nice. You want to put the picture up, Ted? There they are, the three demons. Putin. I don't know if they did the picture to make him. I mean, the Chinese will do anything to lift the cult of Xi Jinping. Did you notice how much bigger Xi Jinping looks in that picture than Putin and even Fat Boy? And look, if Fat Boy looks like he doesn't even know where he is. He's looking at Xi Jinping, so Xi can tell him how to, like Biden, which way do I go? How should I go? Do you want me to throw a bomb for you? Would you like me to bomb someone? I will. They did parade out their nuclear triad, which they had never done before. I mean, they went all out to really, really shake us up. And it's the first time they had put out nuclear. People don't. I don't know if the Russians put out their nuclear, versions or examples of their nuclear weapons. I don't remember a country parading out replicas or actual parts of their nuclear weaponry, but they did. And the president was very, very impressed, and therefore did say he was watching it. And I thought his response was perfect, to just slap him in their fat communist pussies, which was, please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un. He wrote this to Xi Jinping as you conspire against the United States. So he let him know that he's looking at him. And believe me, you see what you saw there? It's nothing compared to what we have. Now, if you want to go back and look at the picture, I have a thought about this, Ted. I have a feeling this picture of the three demons, I think this picture was doctored to make Xi Jinping look bigger. Notice how he dominates the picture? I don't know that he's that, I think he's, Putin's short. So I don't know if he's that much, but I don't think he's that much taller than the fat boy. And, but doesn't he look like the father figure? All of that is very well thought out. I'm sure it was doctored to look that way. he looks like he definitely looks like the guy in charge, right? The way they do that picture. According to one of the editorials, this is either the Post or the now Wall Street left-wing journal, that said that America's adversaries are united, while Mr. Trump hits U.S. allies with a tariff barrage. Now, are they really that dumb or have such short memories that they don't remember the massive meeting that Trump had at the White House where all of our allies came to him? I mean, sure we disagree on tariffs. Russia and China and North Korea disagree on trade. They have some very, very big disagreements on trade, even on territory. But where it comes to defense, it's quite obvious that we're all together. I mean, they came to him for leadership on what to do about Ukraine. And they're hanging on his every word. So I just think the Wall Street Journal has to paint everything, negative to Trump. If anything, he has brought the NATO closer together than it's been in a very, very long time. And he's actually gotten it to become effective, which is for their good, not just ours. And it's real. It's not made up like their propaganda. But that was the purpose of the whole parade. We got to see some of their equipment. We got to see their missiles, their DF-57 intercontinental ballistic missile, their new versions of their aerial drones, which of course have become so important, their J-15 carrier-based fighter, their anti-drone air defense systems. All this is of some value. The J-35A stealth fighter, which theoretically is supposed to match the F-35, and it doesn't. And their pilots would not in any way match ours, nor do they have the experience that ours do. Now, the Wall Street Journal did leave out, however, somebody missing from this great show of unity, and that's somebody who was there for an earlier part of the meeting, and that is the president of India. Critical that he's not there, because the theory was they were kind of stealing him away from us. Don't see it. Don't see how that's going to happen. And he sure as heck didn't want himself associated with that ridiculous display, because he knows what alliance he has to be in if he wants to protect his country against being completely overwhelmed by China and taking, maybe a third of India away from them. And India is, suffering from a 50% tariff because they are trading with because they're trading with Russia and therefore financing the Ukraine war. They and China and are basically, China's about 50% and they're about 30%. Now, I don't know if they haven't stopped. I think they may have, which is putting a lot of pressure on Russia and a lot of pressure on China, because China doesn't have the money to really back them up. There was an interesting conversation. I don't know if we picked this up, Ted. There was an interesting conversation that got picked up, apparently, over the microphones, in which the two megalomaniacs and murderers, Xi Jinping and Putin, basically discussed how they're going to live forever with modern medicine.
Yeah,
and very, very, very interesting thing is Xi Jinping expects to be able to use other people's organs in order to live. And no country sells organs anywhere near the volume that China does, because the Xi Jinping, who got a great, great hero's welcome by the Democrats in California, specializes in a massive business of taking organs from living people.
And we do have that 10.
He's a monster.
SOT 10. Let's play that.
Living to 150. Wow. Maybe they'll stuff them and march them out, you know, like they do with those Chinese figures. They'll just go like they'll march him out, and he'll give orders. Well, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
With everybody talking about making America healthy again, I thought today'd be a great day to talk to all my fellow patriots about the importance of making your homes healthy again. Well, we have proudly partnered with airwaterhealing.com and their revolutionary whole home air purification system. The V3 from Air Water Healing does 3,000 square feet of purification. It eliminates dust, mold, viruses, and odors. But here's the part I love. They require no filters to ever be changed and virtually no maintenance. Whether you suffer from asthma, allergies, seasonal bronchitis, or just want to protect your family from the flu or even greater threats, don't wait to get your V3 from airwaterhealing.com today. Use code Lindell for 20% off in savings and free shipping. That's promo code Lindell at airwaterhealing.com. Too many pharmacies and insurance companies are blocking the medications that actually work. That's why I recommend All Family Pharmacy. They give you access to treatments like ivermectin now, starting at just $2 a capsule. They also have methylene blue, hydroxychloroquine, and so much more. They're helping you stay prepared, and they've dropped their prices by 25%. Also use promo code Lindell10, you save even more. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Use promo code Lindell10 and get the medicine you need. Are you taking advantage of President Trump's golden age? Well, what if I told you can just sit back and earn money as President Trump continues to repair our economy and make America energy independent again? I'm talking about oil royalty checks. With the help of the Oxford Club, thousands of Americans have unlocked this secret hack that has put money back in hard-working American pockets. Financial expert and LindellTV supporter Mark Lichtenfield has showed me how. It's a way to profit from America's energy production that's been working quietly for decades, even when oil companies were struggling. So go to LindellOilBoom.com to find out how this all works and why it's relevant right now. That's LindellOilBoom.com. Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nervanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nervanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nervanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at NervantaHealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nervanta instead and experience the difference. Go to NervantaHealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nervanta Health. Live well naturally.
Welcome back. This is Rudy Giuliani, and it's the Rudy Giuliani Show on LindellTV. Well, Putin, I thought dealt with this in a very, very nasty way, and it didn't give us much hope that he's going to reach any kind of an agreement. But he said, "Oh, if Zelensky wants to meet with me, tell him to come to Moscow." Well, we know what he's going to do. He's going to tell Zelensky, give in. Give me everything I want and extra. Give me some more land. I want all of Donetsk. So next time I try to take the rest of you, there won't be your fortifications in the way. Give me everything else that I want. Stay out of NATO. Demilitarize. So again, next time I want to take you over, you don't have a military. And become friendly with me. I mean, I'm really a nice guy. I just killed your men and women to get your attention, and children. I don't see that as a serious offer at peace, nor do I see it as one that we're going to be too happy about. And I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop, because I think it will. On Putin, because it's the only way to deal with him. The idea that he can be dealt with the way you would with a rational actor or I wouldn't say he's irrational, but he is a monster. So who gets his way by force, and the only way to stop him is by force, and it's going to require are ruining their economy, which we are capable of doing. And we should want to do it because it will help us long term, even to contain China. Because a loss here for Russia is a loss for China. A gain for Russia is a gain for China. So he can come to Russia. While every night, Putin, I guess the other night he used 500 drones at Kyiv, the capital city. He'll kill 3-4 people. He now aims almost completely for civilian targets. It's quite obvious that all he wants to do is inflict terror on them. He's given up trying to take extra territory. He just goes after civilian targets and tries to ruin their capital city. In fact, since I think this is correct, if I have this number right, in July, that's while peace is in the air, right? Putin has killed 1,674 civilians, which is the most that we know of at any time during the war. So while he's supposed to be creating an atmosphere for peace, he's killing off as many Ukrainians as he possibly can, and trying to take little pieces of territory that don't have some meaning, particularly the ones that creep ahead in Donetsk, where we've explained to you, Ukraine has a very, very solid fortification system that Russia wasn't able to crack, and they want it given to them because the estimate is that if they were to get what they haven't been able to get in the 3 provinces where they haven't made it 100% conquest, it could take 1 million Russian soldiers, particularly given the incompetent and barbaric nature of their warfare, where they don't really use any strategies designed to reduce the risk to human life. The deadline with Russia expires. Is that suggesting that it expires tomorrow? Is that correct? If I see that there, well, no, that would suggest that it expires. Did it expire on the 2nd of September? Does anybody know? I mean, I see that article from Newsweek. It says Donald Trump's 50-day deadline to Russia expires. It is dated September 2nd. So he's got two deadlines that are both moving. One is his deadline to Hamas, and the other is his deadline to Russia. And this one really being the more important one in terms of deadline, not in terms of outcome. So I don't know if we should expect some action from him very, very shortly, because we don't see Putin moving toward embracing any of the positions that would make it possible to ameliorate the American or Ukrainian concerns. There was a comparison done of China and the United States, suggesting that China is a country of huge talent, and it kind of swings toward engineering and building, because they're building so much more, they're constructing so much more than we are building, that we're not building very much. And we're more like a culture of warriors and people who make agreements and argue agreements. And I don't know, there's sort of an overgeneralization of that may be true. But do you think that what they build and how they build it, you really think they conceived of that? Or do you think they stole that from us or from somebody else? There's no question they stole it from us. If you go watch the way the buildings are constructed, you wouldn't be so shocked if you were a construction person like Trump wouldn't be, that they're using American basic structures of how to do it. And the reality is that when push comes to shove, and we want to escalate this race against them, which I think we're doing, we can pretty much stay a generation or two ahead of them. And we have to start doing that, and I think we are. I mean, that's why we see all of this investment that Trump is so anxious to get. I think he understands exactly what I'm talking about. But we can't keep the president's got to keep his eye on the Middle East. He's got to keep his eye on Russia. He's got to keep his eye on Afghanistan and that whole area as well. He's got to keep his eye on China. He's got to keep his eye on Taiwan. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. And then, of course, there's always the Iranians, and they certainly keep their eyes on us. They've had a spy operating in the State Department for probably 4 or 5 years at least, and I think they've known she's a spy for that period of time. That's Ariana Tabatabai. Ariana Tabatabai is an Iranian born citizen who came to the United States with her parents, who are major supporters of the insane homicidal Ayatollah and the regime. She worked with Robert Malley, who has since been fired, suspected that he's a spy also, for getting information to the Iranians, and then also orchestrating first peace deal, which was peace deal and cessation of testing, nuclear testing, which of course they just saw as a piece of paper to be laughed at. And they went ahead and kept developing, so that once we pulled out, they hadn't lost a step. So it would be nice to get her the hell out of the State Department. I mean, I don't know if we can convict her of being a spy, but we sure know enough about her that we can do it, and we can take away whatever credit she gets for being a undercover operative. I mean, she's a straight out and out spy. That's what she is. That's what she's always been, and she hooked herself up with the highest level of American Iranian intelligence services. Pretty damn good. And she worked with a guy who's been indicted, and I guess he ran away or got away, or we let him go, or we didn't want him to, I guess, lose his usefulness to Iran. We're always very careful about having to have a fair fight with Iran because they don't really have very much. So we really should make their military even to ours before we fight with them. Isn't that what you're supposed to do, Ted? If you're ahead, you're supposed to give them, if you have more armaments than they do, then you give them some of yours, right? That's what they say. So to buy teachers in the United States, and she teaches, she teaches Muslim dogma. They're supposed to kill you. They're supposed to kill Jews. She hates Jews. Her language on Judaism is inflammatory. It's disgusting. She was a top aide to Robert Malley, who has been indicted, suspended in 2023 for mishandling prosecutorial material. And I do not understand why she's still pulling down her salary from the Pentagon. And I don't understand why we still have her on board. I presume there's a good reason, and I'm not going to push it too far. Now, I think you know how concerned President Trump has been about our allies, right? And maybe you think that sometimes he overdoes it when he's concerned about them. And maybe you think that my emphasizing that the most popular name in England right now is Mohammed, that I'm kind of suggesting hate of Muslims. I'm not. I'm just pointing it out. I'm pointing out the infiltrations they're making, what they're breaking down. But they get right directly at it. There's a front page headline in yesterday's Sunday Express, done for Sunday. And here's the headline. Just put it up, Ted. I mean, it's going to really be, it would shock the hell out of me if I were English. Most Britons would refuse to fight for country. What? Yeah, most would refuse to fight for the country. How about 64% if you want to get exact? You want to make it worse? Another 6% are unsure. So we're talking about 70% who right now you can't count on to fight for their country if it's against poor Iran or even poor Pakistan. The Iranian Islamic Republic, the Islamic Republic of Iran, which is a Shiite kingdom, has made spectacular inroads in the Islamic community, certainly in the Shiite community, but even strangely, against predictions, in the Shiite community. That's an amazing statement from a country that fought to the death to resist German control. But they'll take control from, maybe it's because most of them are named Mohammed. So they figure, what the heck? I wonder how they're going to, it really would be a shame if they tossed in the Magna Carta for Sharia law.
Well, don't put it to the citizens, apparently, according to this poll, almost, right? And
There's
general
something wrong.
demographics in the London area, particularly.
There's something wrong. We got to stop off in England next time we go over that way, Ted. We got to do a little checking around.
We do.
Maybe you should do it so they don't recognize me.
Right.
And see, how do they feel? I do get a lot of stuff from English people about how annoyed how their country is becoming taken over by a religion that is, in the final analysis, dedicated to war and conquest. Right. When I say final analysis, it goes through a phase with Muhammad where it's peaceful, but it ends up being you have to spread it by death and war and killing. And you're entitled to do it if they're infidels.
Wow.
And that, of course, means you and me are in their sights.
Right.
We're going through that same situation here in America, aren't we? So we have a Muslim mayor in London. We have a Muslim mayor in Paris. We have many Muslim mayors in the countryside of London, and we have about 20% of the territory, I believe, under Muslim rule, much of it under Sharia law. Now, I don't know if that means that they can beat the hell out of their wives, but they can under Sharia law. I don't know why English women are putting up with it. I don't understand it. I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand what's happened to their morale, to their Christianity. I do know, because I follow this quite a bit, I do know that the majority religion in England now, or not the majority, the plurality religion in England right now is the Roman Catholic religion, which seems to negate hundreds of years of the work of Henry VIII and Elizabeth I. They killed an awful lot of people to get there. And America is going through that in certain cities, in your city, in Detroit, in Dearborn, right?
Oh, and certainly, and then some other Muslim majority cities in the area.
Dearborn is the one that comes to mind as the home of sort of the Arab home in America.
Yes, and then you can't forget all the notoriety that Hamtramck, Michigan, received over the course of, remember when the Muslim mayor of Hamtramck endorsed Trump last cycle?
Right.
We had a big office there, Trump equals peace. So they really did kind of swing over our way this cycle.
And then I think that it gets complicated by October 7, doesn't it?
Well, yes, of course.
Yep.
So we're going to switch over to X to continue our exploration of the things that are not covered for you that should be, and cover it accurately so you get to hear all of it, not just some of it. And also talk to you practically about what can be done at this level and this stage of the danger presented to the United States to protect us. There's plenty you can do about it. Well, we'll be back very shortly. Have a good break, and then you come right back because we have an extraordinarily exciting show for you.
Thanks, Jason.